Welcome to the Auto Shoot. I'm your host, B-Flo. This show is being sponsored by our friends Punky's Pizza and Pasta, located at 2600 South Wallace, my personal favorite eatery in the neighborhood. They have the best selections of pizzas and pastas, as well as sandwiches and salads of any spot in Bridgeport. Currently, they have what they are calling the Pizza Happy Hour, Mondays and Tuesdays only, between 4 p.m. and 9 p.m. You order a pizza from Punky's, and you get 50% off. Yes, you heard that correctly. 50% off pizzas ordered Mondays and Tuesdays between 4 p.m. and 9 p.m. How in the world can you get 50% off the best pizza in Bridgeport? The Pizza Happy Hour. Hit the website, punkyspizza.com, for all your carryout or delivery orders or to cater your next party. And catering is big around the holidays. Make sure you get in there and let Scarletta's take care of you. You can also call 312-842-2100. Scarletta family take care of you. Punky's Pizza and Pasta. This show is also powered by you, the Loyal 108 supporter. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Feel free to tickle the undercarriage in the process. Like, comment, turn on notifications, and most definitely super chat, because that's how we get paid. It's how we continue to make the content you know and love. Tonight's guest needs no introduction. He's the host of the 108 podcast, the star of the Sunday Soak, as well as being the bong in this reggae song, Chorizy-E. Welcome back to the Au Jus, my friend.
Man, that's my sabotage video look.
I had forgot to make an image for you for some reason. A lot of detail goes into this show for this one because all the trades and shit. And I was trying to make a lot of notes. And there's like 5 minutes before you came in, I'm like, I don't have a picture. I have this one saved that I always use for you, but it doesn't fill the screen out very well. That's the problem with this picture, you know.
I mean, the mustache fills everybody's eyes with a lot of sexuality, so I think that's fine.
It's unnerving, but you're extremely fuckable. Yeah. So
I'm having a little wine tonight. I figured on your show I should have some wine, but I'm a little worried because it makes me emotional. So we'll see how the show goes.
I'm not drinking. I have Diet Pepsi right now because Chorizy, I made a decision a couple weeks ago. I don't think I've told you this. I made a decision a couple weeks ago that I am such a fat piece of shit that I need to have just at least one day a week where I don't eat, where I do not eat or consume like.
Oh, you're not eating at all today.
So Monday, I'm picking Mondays as the day where I just you're not eating all day because you're a fat slob. You can't help but eating 2 triple cheeseburgers on Sunday. So you need to let your liver rest a little bit. Don't fucking eat all the goddamn time. So I've decided Monday is the day. Now, if I can stretch Tuesday, I'll do Tuesday too. But so yeah. So that's why I'm not having any. Otherwise, I'd have some wine and then I'd end up drinking half a bottle of it. But I'm gonna stick with the Diet Pepsi just for tonight. So
I'm just gonna get some black market Ozempic off MSS. So I'll be fine.
I'm not. You know what? You know me. I'm not. I don't like shots. I don't like drugs. I don't even like to take Advil when I got a hangover. So that's I'm kind of out.
You're missing out. You're missing out on
Let's get to a drink real quick for our guy Pedro. It says bear down. Yeah, nice win for the Bears. Just a goofy win yesterday for the Bears, but thank you, Pedro. All right, Chorizy, we are back doing our Trade with Every Team's blogs. We're doing it a little different this year. We're doing an AL1 and NL1 instead of doing all the divisions. Usually this would be 3 shows. This can only be 2. Slightly different format. But I do want to start off with the preamble. And so the reason why we do this, I saw an interview a long time ago with legendary poker player Phil Ivey. And the interviewer asked, and I'm paraphrasing here, how would you recommend a player learning the game get better as fast as possible? And Phil said something to the effect of, I would buy into a game much lower stakes than normal and play every single hand for an hour. Try to figure out and play out of all these positions that you're normally taught you would just fold your hand and you would never play out. So in the spirit of that, we try to do a White Sox trade with every single fucking team, even though obviously this would never happen. And a bunch of these teams, the trades don't fit particularly great, and you'll see that in some of our discussions here. And so I think it's fair to start off with the trades that we did really like that we were doing in here, Chorizy. So I'm going to let you lead off. I'm going to put your first trade up on the board, and I would love for you to present it. It's the White Sox and the Mariners.
Yeah, so I mean, as you know, Beef, and it's probably a lot of people that follow along. I'm fascinated by Jerry DiPoto. He makes all these trades. He makes tons and tons of trades. One of the things, though, is that he doesn't spend a lot in free agency.
Right, that's true.
So when he has something like a pitching staff like he currently has with a lot of young guys, a lot of very promising talent, a lot of talent that's already being realized in the major leagues, and then he has someone like Luis Castillo, who he traded for, and has a lot of money owed to him. And it's kind of, I won't say on the downside of his career, but he's definitely not the guy he was, 4 or 5 years ago.
He's not Luis Castillo that you think about Luis Castillo. Still a good
Right,
pitcher.
exactly.
Still
a good
pitched
pitcher.
180 innings this last year.
He would still be the best pitcher on the White Sox. Like he would immediately be the best pitcher on the White Sox. And the thing about this one that I really liked was like thinking about trying to obtain someone like Luis Castillo through free agency when you are the White Sox. You're a 100-loss team.
Right.
And you're trying to sign someone for like basically like 2 years and $50 million with an option for 2028 if you throw 180 innings in 2027. Like that's impossible for the White Sox to do, right? Like,
of course, they're not getting
so.
that price.
So this presents an opportunity to me to put someone at the top of your rotation. And when I'm looking at these kind of trades holistically across the board, in previous years, Beef, we've kind of known what the Sox were going to do, right? Not the exact things they were going to do.
It's like directionally because they had certain types of players that fit a certain mold. Yes.
And the thing that like I started thinking about as I was looking at this is just like the Sox really have two options here. The Sox can try to start winning, like say, hey, we are at best a 90-loss team right now.
Yep.
We need to add so that we can win in the immediate. Or if they're not going to do that, they got to start looking at like some of these guys that to trade away that are valuable right now and get prospects that are like 2-3 years away, which I hate that idea.
That idea sucks,
it's one of the routes this year. And it's like,
and it's a reasonable one too, Chorizy.
I don't think we're going to get a lot of it here, like in the ones that we talked through, but like, yeah, it is a reasonable one as well, right? Like if you're looking at like long term, and so that's kind of this is on the opposite side of that, and that's why I really like this one. This is going for we're trying to win, right? And I think that the players we're trading away will anger people for sure. I think people have come to like Miguel Vargas.
Yep.
I have the first base / third base there. And that is a big difference, man. That is a big difference. If he is not a third baseman, like a lot of those doubles have to become home runs. I mean, like at least like double digits of those doubles have to become home runs. Right. I mean, and that's a scary situation if we're going to look at Miguel Vargas, the first baseman. So there's a bit of pause with me for Miguel Vargas. And so that's the kind of thing where I'm like, is this the best time to trade him? And I like, in my opinion, it probably is. Because if he works out at third or if he is a 30 home run guy, you never trade him. Right.
That's right. Yeah. The value is too high where you're like, no, we're not dumping him.
This is the only kind of moment that I think you would trade Miguel Vargas. Because the opposite goes too. Like if he's a first baseman, but he repeats 20 home run first baseman, like no one's banging down the door for that. So that's where I was there. And George Wolkow, I was like, who could I piss off? Who would I trade to piss people off the most? And I think it was him. I mean, I like the idea of him, right? But like 147 strikeouts this year. It's like that ain't gonna get better as you go up.
And that was a big improvement too, Chorizy. That was a big improvement.
Right. And then you start going up the ranks, it's gonna be bad. And like I don't know. I'm just worried about him actually never making it to the majors.
Right. And then the last piece in the deal?
Aldrin Batista, I put in here. I like Aldrin Batista, but it's also like he's Rule 5 eligible. And like people are gonna lose their minds over him not being protected for Rule 5.
He's not gonna be. Yeah, it would be.
No, he's absolutely not going to be.
But he's hot in streets. His name is hot, ringing out there, Chorizo, with the hot prospect people for sure.
So it made it easy for the two add-ons, in my mind, right? Like I just thought, who are people hot on that would upset them? But I think Vargas is interesting in these trades, and I've only traded them once so far, but he's an interesting piece because I think teams can look at that and go, oh man, if we just turn a few of those doubles, like think you turn 5 of those doubles into home runs, right? And now it's a very different looking player. And so like, I mean, I think that's what the Sox hope to do with him You know, I think that's Ryan Fuller's
Yeah,
plan.
that's the goal. Right? Well,
Turn
it was
him
even
into
the goal.
25
to
30. Yeah. But I mean, like
coming into this year when they told him to gain some weight, Chorizy, that was like the whole concept there. It's like you wore down, you didn't have your power in the end of the year. That absolutely killed your profile. That's what they're shooting for, I think.
When they sent him to hang out with Manny Ramirez this offseason, you're gonna think he's gonna get some extra muscle mass. It's gonna be great. But so yeah, that's where I ended up on that trade. I really like that trade. I would do that trade in a second. I don't know that that the Mariners would do it unless they believe Vargas could play third base. Because if Vargas could play third base for them, that's really nice for them. Because that I think they have enough pitching that they could backfill that. But Vargas at third, and then this frees up the money to keep Josh Naylor, which is something that it sounds like they want to do. So all in all, it seems like a good fit. And Jerry DePoto's a madman, so this would go well with him.
Well, that was going to be my question there, related to the trade, because while I don't disagree that this would be a nice trade for the White Sox in the aspect of you'd really strengthen that front end, you'd lock in a guy who you can basically count on to throw a bunch of innings, who would be your best pitcher on staff, not the AC used to be, but still a very good pitcher. But if you're the Mariners, you're one game from the World Series this year, and really they should have gone. Like they kind of blew that series, in my opinion. Are you really trading a right now starting pitcher like that? Even if he's not your best pitcher anymore, obviously he's been passed by some guys in the staff. And then what you're getting back isn't all that helpful to the next year's run. You mean, we talk about the tweenerness of Miguel Vargas. That ballpark is also especially tough on home run hitters. So not only is it like, we're not even sure if he's got enough power at Sox Park, I would assume a Safeco, this is even a bigger question because it's much harder than home runs there, you know?
It's fair. It's a fair argument, right? And I think it's almost an argument of like, do they look at him and go, this guy's a 40 doubles guy in this park, right? And we don't need him to be this because we're bringing back Naylor and Cal Raleigh could hit 100 home runs. Like I don't know,
Julio Rodriguez, and we had some guys here, so maybe it's okay.
And
maybe freeing up the money is the most important part.
That's the part that I think is most intriguing about this, is freeing up the money to keep the guys that they want to keep. Because it doesn't sound like if you read the Mariners blogs and like the people that blog about the Mariners, like no one's in on Luis Castillo anymore. They feel like all of them are like us, by the way. Let me just be clear about that. They would love the org to just go out and spend money and be a real org that way, right? But they know that that's probably not going to happen. And so they're like looking like we would look, right? And go like, where can we cut a few dollars out so that we could keep some of these guys, right? And like I think a lot of them like a Eugenio, but they know that that's not going to happen. And everybody's kind of looking at the Naylor situation. And with the Naylor situation, third base is kind of free. I know they got some guys that they could bring up. But those guys are never a guarantee, right? I mean, like you look at what the Mets were trying to do at third base for the past few years, right? Like, so that's the kind of thing where I think if you're a Mariners fan, you might be looking at this going, yeah, if that guy could play third base. And I think that's the big key here. Can Miguel play third base reasonably?
Yeah, a first division team absolutely needs him to play there. They can't handle that profile first. We as the White Sox can handle it for a year or two while things are building up. Yeah, exactly. Not permanently. So, all right, I like it too. I would be a big fan if the White Sox did something like that. And we mentioned it, and I'm glad you brought it in the very first trade. You know, some of these guys you like are going to get traded. They're going to get moved out of here. They're going to be somewhere else. And so let's be cognizant.
And I like Vargas. Yeah, I really like Vargas. I think I'm on the idea of like, if you turn those like you turn into like a 25 home run dude, like yes, we're good, man. We're good.
Yeah. All right, my first trade that I really liked, and this is with the Red Sox. This guy is one handsome son of a bitch. I don't believe the pronunciation I read online, Chorizy, but I'll use it anyway. Yostinson Garcia. That's what they're saying is.
It's the O's higher. So Yostinson or
Yostinson.
Or Jostinson, yeah. You could do the Y or the J kind of pronunciation. It's like it's basically like the English versus Spanish pronunciation. I really looked into this beef because I was like, I'm saying this right. I'm gonna try and say this right. So I even listened to him say his own name.
I wrote it out phonetically, but I still whiffed the O on there. You're absolutely right about that. And I'm getting him from the Red Sox, and I'm sending Hagen Smith And there's a structural piece to this. The Red Sox are absolutely packed with outfielders. I mean, they're at the point where they have a legitimate logjam. A handful of teams end up this way where they have like so much young talent out there that there's no room. And these guys, they've got, they have Wilyer Abreu. They've got the kid Roman Anthony. They got Jaron Duran there, and they even have like Rafaela can play some outfield too. Like they have like some of the fringy guys. The other guys that move around the field can also play the outfield. So there's not really room for this guy, and he's completely ready. I mean, like he was in AAA last year. His profile, it's kind of funny, Chorizy. He's a guy that he's listed at like 170 pounds, and everywhere you read about him, it's like he's 60 pounds heavier than this. Like he's just a thick boy, but he can run.
My next trade, we're gonna get into that too. I don't know why there's such a variance.
They never update it. They never update it. These kids sign when they're 14, and then they don't update it when they're in their 20s to get the correct weight. Anyway, bro's got like 225, 6 foot 225. A bit of a tweener outfielder, Trees. He can play some center, but he's probably a corner guy. Has enough arm for right field, so that's a good thing. It's all fields power. There's a quite a bit of chase here too, so it's like makes the profile a little riskier. But the guy is absolutely just ready to be in the majors. 29% K rate at AAA last year. That could scare you a little bit, but like this is a plug and play outfielder. If the White Sox made this trade, this guy would be starting on opening day without a doubt and hitting somewhere in the middle of the lineup. And so that's why I kind of made the deal. And the other reason I made the deal, we've talked about this with Hagen Smith. His prospect status has just been tumbling. His value has been tumbling ever since you pointed out that he had the Michael Jackson mustache. Ever since you saw the Michael Jordan mustache.
Let's not put any Michael Jackson stuff on him. All right, let's calm down.
The Jordan Haynes commercial mustache. He's been going downhill, and it's been a lack of command and a lack of control, kind of all throughout the minors. Now he's pitching pretty well in the Arizona Fall League, but I wanted to set the line here on White Sox fans because there's a lot of griping about Hagen Smith right now, and I want people to decide. Would you be in on this trade or would you be out on this trade? If you're out on this trade, then everything that's happened is not bothering you. You're fine. You're willing to gamble on the upside. If you're in, it might tell you that, yeah, you know what? I'm not sure about Hagen Smith. I'm not sure the 5th overall pick from the 2024 draft is going to regain that pedigree and come back and be this guy. The guys on MLB Pipeline, Chorizy, they are just a couple spots apart. Garcia's number 85 on the top 100. Hagen Smith's number 88. So this is a value for value trade, straight up. And I want White Sox fans to really dig deep and think, how did they think about these prospects? What would they do in this situation? And for me, I would definitely fire. I had no problem with it. I mean, I have no problem firing Hagen Smith to get what I think looks like an everyday outfielder.
I mean, it's interesting, right? Because I think the one thing that's not being said in White Sox circles, but is being said outside of them, is reliever risk with Hagen Smith. Right. And like, that's it, man. If you think about how we were thinking about Garrett Crochet when it was like, this guy's a reliever.
Yep.
You picked him up there, but he's a reliever. And that's scary, right? Like, and I think that's something where it's like, we're already seeing Grant Taylor go that route. And I know a lot of people are like, hey, man, he still could be a starter. Maybe. But maybe he's just a reliever. And that's the only way to keep him healthy, right? And maybe Hagen Smith is only a reliever, and that's the way to keep him focused enough and accurate enough is short spurts, right?
Right.
I don't know. But for this particular trade, Beef, I would be willing to bet against Smith for the password.
For the password of the house. And in the comments, Trey also brings up that he has lost velocity too. He's sitting 94 max. Like I said, he's looked better in Arizona Fall League.
That's as a starter, right? Like if you could ratchet it up as a reliever,
if you only got to throw 15 pitches 3 times a week, you can get it higher.
And 2 pitches is
all you need.
Profile. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right about that. It's all you need. Now, one of the other tenets I wanted to bring up, because I think we do these trades all the time, and you could just think of them as this trade or whatever. But I think Chorizy brought it up in the first trade with Miguel Vargas about how you're going to have to maybe you're gonna have to get off some of these guys that have been here on this team because they're gonna have to turn things over. One of the things I was thinking about with this trade is, you remember all what happened to Carson Fulmer, Chorizy? Where on that path could they have jumped out and traded him for some value in that situation? Like, it was a risky profile, but they wrote it all the way down to nothing. And I think one of the things that, like, from the Hahn era, we should have seen, like, he did a lot of this, is he rode the shit down to where it had absolutely no value, instead of realizing at some point, look, this thing might not work out. Let's just get some liquidation value out of it, trade this out of here, get what we can for it now, and move along from these things. He was a hold on forever. And I wonder if we're going to get to that spot with Hagen Smith, because Hagen Smith's profile's way down. Obviously, he debuted in these lists in the top 30. Now he's at the back or is out of the top 100 on some of the lists. And if you have another year like that, or even another couple months, is it time to start saying, maybe someone else could do a better job? Let's press the eject button and get out of here. And I want to see how the White Sox Chris Getz regime handles this.
Well, I think, this is an interesting one, though, because if you think about that scenario, right, like, the eject button isn't necessarily trade them, get out of it. It's reliever, right? Like, let's try him as a reliever. Right. And let's lie and say this is the best way to get him to the pros quickly and blah, blah, blah.
Right. Grant Taylor spiel, exactly.
I've never heard it, but yeah, I mean, like, there's optionality with Hagen Smith, right? Like, so, like, I don't want to act like he stinks, right? Like, this is there's a lot of tools there. There's a lot. If you can harness it, this could be. There's still a possibility of this guy being a top of the rotation guy.
Correct.
And it's not like some distant long shot either, right? Like, so, I mean, that's why anyone would trade for him and trade you someone of value, right? Like, so that's why this
trade is questionable. You're not sure which way you go. This and our prospect we're talking about here.
Like, I do like that you're saying, like, this might be the sell high point.
It might be. We don't know. Yeah.
Right. And that's sad, but I hope it's not, right. Like, I hope when this doesn't happen, Beef, because it's not going to happen.
Yeah, no.
I hope that when this doesn't happen, that we see a Hagen Smith this year that looks like, okay, the velocity's down a little bit, but he's figured out these other pieces, right? Like, the mechanics are very repeatable now, right? Like, you're not seeing anything that gives you pause when it comes to, like, his mechanics, and he's starting to throw in a way that you feel comfortable, like, okay, he's starting to get control. He's starting to do these things over and over, and it's looking more and more like a pitcher, even if it takes longer than we thought for him to get to the pros, right? Like, I think that's something we all kind of are like, oh man, 2026 he's be the starter,
Yeah,
he's not there, but, like, maybe 2027, right? Like, or 2028, and I'm fine with that if he's looking really good, right? But, like, the thing that I'm nervous about, like we've been talking about, is, like, 2028, he's like 7th inning guy.
Yeah. Then you've Carson Fulmered him. Then you've buried all the possibility of getting anything out of it. And that's where I'm curious to see barometer wise what this group does. Let me get to this drink real quick. Pasty Taco says, "Viva you, double hazy tonight. Cheers, fellas. Double hazy is nice. There used to be a day we drank a lot of hazies. Yeah, that's a big hangover in the morning, but that's a good beer. Thank you, Pasty. All right, Chorizy, I'm gonna let you jump back in with a trade that you fancy out of your pile.
So I like this one for a different reason. I like this because if we could get anything for Lenny Sosa, I will be overjoyed. I'll be overjoyed. I am not on the list of Lenny Sosa believers, man. I can't look at someone who's got a 3% walk rate and think, yep, this is going to be 20 something home runs every year. There's no stop. There's no stopping him now. Detroit is an interesting spot for him. And Detroit's an interesting spot for him because it's the more I dig into Detroit, and we've known about this guy for a while, but Kevin McGonigal's going to be a problem.
They have some talent coming for sure.
I don't want that guy to come up. But I am also unsure of how they're going to play all of this, right? I do feel like Javi Baez, they are looking at that dude like a super utility player, right? Like, I mean, like roster resource has him penciled in at shortstop, but I don't think that he is the starting shortstop of the Tigers. Zach McKinstry had a good year at the plate. Maybe he's playing shortstop. Maybe McGonigal is coming up. I don't know. There's just a lot of questions of what they're going to do in their infield.
Yep.
And I don't think it hurts to have a Lenyn Sosa floating around at multiple positions or at some second base. And they dealt with Glaber at second all year, who did not have a good defensive year. Right. And so, like, it's not like this will be a huge downgrade defensively or anything for them. So that's kind of like where the idea of like, okay, Lenyn might actually contribute to a Detroit Tigers team in 2026. And I don't like him in general. So I think, you know, other than his huge ass, like that's a plus.
Yeah.
But you're also not going to get like a ton for Lenyn, right? Like it's so
right.
I saw this guy beef. So this Calvis Salcido, and he's listed at 6'2", and like Fangraphs has got all these little lines in there, like he's a bigger bodied righty. His profile includes substantial relief risk because of his build alone, right?
Did they say big boned by any chance during any of this?
I mean, it's basically all that. It's all. They said he's got a great sense of humor. It's like, but Baseball Reference has him at 6'180". So there's a 30-pound difference between the two sites, and I'm like, who's right here? Because one of them is calling this guy a fat fuck, and one of them, the guy is in perfect shape. So I don't know what's going on. I mentioned maybe he did some DDP yoga. You know, I don't know. And he got slimmed down.
Yeah, well, hang on. Let me jump your ass about that part of it. You do mention that in the last paragraph that maybe the guy did some DDP yoga or whatever. And you put the fucking great picture, by the way, of Diamond Dallas Page, but you put it at the goddamn bottom instead of up there by the header so I can clip this nice and easy. Did you forget how to fucking blog over the last year? What happened there? What was that?
Look, man, I want to say me and you blog differently. I want to get the joke out and then give you the image, right? You're always image first. I'm
image first.
Styles.
Yes,
it's just different styles. It's just different styles, man. But Beef, like the thing about this Salcido kid is like, if he is a reliever, it still feels like a good player.
Like guy,
like,
right.
and like I like that about it, and I'm fine if he's a reliever, right? Like that's not a big loss to me. But I do think like this would be one of those scenarios where like the Tigers might not even give you that much because they're like, we don't really need this guy. You know, like
right.
I've got all these other options, you know. They've got a good best next alternative, right? Which is bad when you're making a trade. So I like this trade. I feel like this one is one of my lesser likely to actually occur. Just I think Lenyn Sosa is going to be really hard to move.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think when you go through this process and you start looking at what's the potential for certain guys, at some point, and I think Lenyn Sosa might be that guy with a few exceptions, and I think we're going to talk about one later on, where he's just more valuable to the White Sox than he is actually trading him. So, like, you traded for Salcido. I look him up in MLB Pipeline. He's their 28th rated prospect. So, I mean, getting a 28th rated prospect, you can get those guys off waivers sometimes. They're just like, they're going to pass them, just steal them for nothing. And you don't have to give up a guy that hit 20 homers. Now, there is additional utility to moving Lenyn Sosa in that you kind of free up a little bit of a logjam on the right side of the infield, right? You're going to allow some plate appearances for some people that are going to be coming through. And so that part of it I get. But yeah, you start looking at it and you're like, yeah, but we could use that power. And maybe if the power's not that useful to everyone else, maybe we just hold it because it is what it is.
I mean, it's you remember that we are a 100-loss team when you think that Lenyn Sosa led the team in home runs and RBI, right? Like,
yeah. It becomes glaringly obvious to you, and that he'd be really useful to you. Like, when you try to give him to another team, they can't use him.
Like, I'm having a lot of trouble trading this guy that led our team in home runs and RBI, and it's super cheap.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Still, yes, still hasn't hit arbitration yet, but no, we can't trade him. So, all right, my final one that I was excited about, and then we'll hop to some different categories here, is a trade with the Orioles. So I traded Tanner McDougal, right-handed pitcher Tanner McDougal, who is prospect status has popped up quite a bit. He had a great year at Double-A, single A and Double-A split, but it finished strong in Double-A. And then I also attached Jairo Iriarte here, Chorizy, in the thought process that you gave before, in that they're going to lob him onto some trade just to say they were able to get a little value from him because they have not been able to figure him out. And he's pretty much so close to like being dumped on his ass for this team. But maybe he's got utility elsewhere for a team that can actually figure the situation out. And then I'm receiving back from the Orioles Enrique Bradfield Jr. Now, the thing to know about Bradfield Jr. is he's probably just about ready to be a center fielder for you like tomorrow, maybe June or something like that. But he's an old school center fielder. So the center fielders of today, they're built like, wide receivers or fullbacks or whatever. This is like, a punt returner in the 80s, basically. Think Lance Johnson when you think about this type of profile for a player. There's a lot of speed, good defense, very patient at the plate. Bunting's a weapon, zero power. Just no power whatsoever. I think he had 2 home runs in the minors last year. And so this would be a different kind of center fielder. But for this deal, I was kind of thinking more like, the White Sox have to start prioritizing these outfielders. You see what my first 2 deals, I'm trying to get outfielders in each one of them because they don't have the depth down there. And Luis Robert won't be here for long either. So there you go. You're losing another outfielder. Mike Tauchman's 35 years old. Braden Montgomery looks good in Arizona Fall League, but you're kind of running out of people to fill in these spots. What's the context? It's fake. What you're asking? I'm just messing with Kevin because Kevin knows Tanner McDougal. He's a Vegas area kid. Kevin knows him well, and I just wanted to give Kevin a little shit that we've been trying to tell him to stay out of White Sox Twitter.
We can't have you all up in our business.
Yeah, that's what it is. If Tanner McDougal came to the Sox and became a star, he'd be all up in White Sox Twitter, and we just can't have it. As much as I want McDougal to be a star, I think we got to trade him to get some value for him. What do you think, Chorizy? Just to avoid this, right?
I like the K-Fids angle. But I don't really like this trade. I don't really like this trade. And we'll get into this later too, but like, I'm a little worried about you.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes you write a blog and Beef, you think highly of yourself. So let's see, we're all aware of that.
Always have, yeah.
And you have this idea. You have this idea of like, improving the defense could improve the amount of wins the White Sox have considerably. And I agree with you. Let me just start by saying I agree with you. But damn it, Beef, why do we got to keep going to the extremes here? All right.
I know what trade you're really talking about.
We'll get to that. But this is along the same lines. You're like, this guy's he's a really good center fielder. He's fast. He can't hit. He'll hit
power.
80 for us. And it's like, we can't have it. We don't need Billy Hamilton light on this team.
The thing is, you're reading it as if we would do all of the trades that I'm saying. We would only maybe do one most of these types of ones where you get like the flea out there in center field.
I just have such a between the last 2 trades. Let's think about what we're talking about here. We're talking about a team who Lenine Sosa led the team in RBI with like 75 RBI.
Yeah,
and you're going, let's sell out for defense. I'm nervous. I'm a nervous guy.
Well,
that's why my friends call me Whiskers.
The other tenet of the trade, though, Chorizy, is going in the other direction from the Hagen-Smith trade, in that McDougal's a 5th-round pick. Now he's a 45-plus future value. At what point when you succeed in getting a guy to pop their prospect status, do you, instead of like graduating them, you cash them in? You say, okay, I popped them up. We should do this. And like, that's something AJ Preller has been very good at with the Padres, where they go and grab en masse in Latin America. They got all the $300,000 signings or whatever. And as guys start popping, as guys start showing out a little bit, boom, they're in the next trade that gets them some major leaguer that helps them go to the playoffs right now and try to challenge the Dodgers. And at some point, the White Sox are going to have to strike on that shit too, in my opinion.
No, I like the idea. I actually even like the idea of trading McDougal.
Yeah.
The return just doesn't engorge me. All right. That's what's
fair enough. That's fair enough. All right. Let's move on now. This next category here, I chose ones, a trade for each of us that I felt on Twitter and the social media was getting a lot of play, a lot of action. People were interested in them. And so I'm going to throw yours up there right now. It is with the Rangers. Chorizy, preview that for us.
Yeah. So looking at like Rangers, and one of the things I do when I do this, and this is part of the fun of this process, Beef, is that like I go and read the blogs from the different orgs, right? Like, so people are out there writing about every single team, right? And the one thing I keep seeing around the Rangers is that like they're gonna cut payroll, right?
Okay, yeah,
and
I've heard that too.
Now I've seen this before about the Rangers, and it doesn't happen, right? Like, so I'm a little skeptical, but for purposes of this blog, like I want to take that and say, hey, look, they're saying this is happening. Let's see what that would look like. And the first guy I thought about, Beef, was Jacob deGrom. But you and I we were having a couple drinks, and we were both kind of in the same mindset of like, if the Rangers want to kind of reset financially, but still try and go for something, you keep deGrom. Because like,
yeah, absolutely. And that was kind of similar my argument. Yeah, exactly. That was my same argument kind of with Luis Castillo. However, peak deGrom still exists in that body when you can have him healthy.
Right.
Whereas Luis Castillo has gone down just overall in his performance. So it's not the same type of idea.
Velocity's down. There's a lot of things
that's right.
that are going in the wrong direction for Luis.
Yep, that's right.
For deGrom, it's always just health.
It's just health.
Right? When he's healthy, he's great. So then I started looking at some of the other guys. I could not for the life of me, Beef, figure out how to get Jock Peterson onto this team. Because I think Peterson they'd give away. They would give away. He's owed like $18 million. It's like a player option that he is absolutely going to pick up. Right.
Yeah.
And so they would give him away. But the Sox already have that problem in their outfield, right? Like if they have a different left fielder that I would love to get rid of.
Yeah, Jock would have to be DH only, basically. I mean, like,
yeah. It's a weird scenario. That could be a thing, but I thought that would be an unexciting scenario. And then I thought Marcus Semien. Marcus Semien's an interesting case because if you read through the Rangers blogs, they have differing views on him, right? Okay. Like some guys are out there going like, it will be a huge mistake to trade Marcus Semien. He had one bad year, and his bad year is still a positive WAR, still 15 home runs. Like,
right.
It's a good player to have. Who cares about the money? And the other side is, this is just the start of the decline, right? He's 35 years old.
Yep.
We're only going to see this get worse, and it's going to be costing us a lot of money to see it, right? Like, so there's differing views in Rangers camp. For me, I looked at this and I said, would the Sox take on this kind of money? I don't think they would, but maybe this is the turning point, right? Like this is along the Castillo line. Like you couldn't go out and get this guy. You have to take the money on to do it. And so bringing him in, he's your starting second baseman. He is still one of the better defensive second basemen in the league.
Right.
Which is nice. Like, let's have that. Like, it goes to your point, Beef. But he's also a guy who, in his worst year, had 15 home runs.
Yep.
Right? And so you're hoping for a little bit of dead cat bounce or just keep it even at 15 for the rest of your career for the next few years. Ride it out.
Yeah, that plays at second. I mean, not
absolutely.
For the money he's making, but as a player profile, definitely plays at second for sure.
And like, I don't think he'll cost much. I think I think people like Antonacci. I hope he's good. Like I don't know what Sam Antonacci is. And then these guys are going to be in a lot of our trades because
the last piece,
Jacob Gonzalez and Jairo Iriarte. These, like, you ever have that friend who has like a significant other that they seemingly hate, and they're just like, and you're like, they seem really nice. Why are you so shitty to this person? Like, that is the stocks with both of those players.
Yeah, no, they're way down. They're
out on these guys.
Yeah.
So I expect them to be throw-ins. And from the Rangers side, they're just getting these throw-in guys that are just like, well, these are ranked prospects, so we're not just like throwing away this guy because of the money, right?
Right. Yeah, we're getting something back for him.
So it looks good from their side. I think that this is difficult to fathom putting this kind of money into Marcus Semien. But like, one of the things I keep thinking about, Beef, is like, why are we giving second base to Chase Meidroth already? I like Chase Meidroth.
Yeah.
I like him. But like, this is the problem the last administration had it in, and it's here. Right? Like the Hahn and Kenny era, like guys just had the position. This is your position now. And you heard when we interviewed Gene Watson about it, I asked him about like, hey, are we going to push some of these guys, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, yeah, we're definitely going to push these guys. But then he mentioned something like competition.
Yeah, he said something like competition makes everyone better or some shit like that.
Yeah, but then he said like Meidroth is our second baseman. It's like, how are you making that decision already? And so like part of me is just trying to like, bring to fruition the idea of like, these guys have to push someone off of this position. And Semien does that. And that's kind of why I like this trade. I think people online are going to like always gravitate towards, this is a former Sox. This is, we shouldn't have traded him.
We should have never traded him. Exactly.
So now you're getting, we're all feeling a little Kenny Williams ourselves, going like, let's get our guy back. And so I think that's probably why it's popular. But what are your thoughts on this trade? Because I know it's a weird trade, and it's probably, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But like, it just was something like, as I'm going through this, is like, this is the one thing I could see us doing with the Rangers.
I wrote in my notes, I said, Chorizy-E's a solution to our logjam at second base. Checks notes. Trades for another second baseman. Give me another second baseman.
Hold on. Let me tell you something, because I've seen people say that we don't have a logjam at second baseman. We have 0 second baseman right now. We have 0.
But that's always been my strategy for the White Sox. 0 second baseman.
Yeah, I know.
0 running backs.
They're acting it up.
I'm happy that it still exists. So no, I hear what you're saying, but the opportunities to whoever, you have 2 on the roster for one. 2 currently on the roster, whether you think they're good or not. You have Meidroth and you have Lenyn Sosa. Those guys are both second basemen. Whether we like it or not, that's their position basically. For better or for worse. One's a plus defender, one hit 20 home runs. It is what it is.
What's the Rhino term for second baseman? Second baseman in name only. I think it's Lenyn Sosa.
Yeah, exactly. But even when you go past that, Chorizy, when you start looking past that, then you start getting to, where's, you mentioned Sam Antonacci, you put him in the trade.
Yeah.
Where is Gerald Perez going to play when his power starts showing? Because he had 20 plus home runs in A-ball, right? He's second base only as well. What about guys like William Bergoya? When they get to the major leagues, and he's getting close now too. I mean, he's going to be in AAA next year. He's not going to play shortstop, right? They're not going to move Colson, or maybe they will. You start looking at a lot of infielders are kind of jamming up, stacking up behind this. Caleb Bonnemer was shot out of a cannon and it could be coming. And so, like,
until there's a 26-man roster decision on the guy, he doesn't exist in my world. All right, like it's like
I get that, but you bought a guy. You bought 3 years worth of contract of a guy, and that's where they've got to start existing, or you at least start planning in a way. And so that was the only thing I had a problem with this, because otherwise I have absolutely no problem with the White Sox. Actually, the way I would do the deals like these is I would do them in a way where you send them something they could use right now and ask for one prospect back for taking all that fucking money. You know what I mean? Like, if they're trying to get out of $72 million, and let's say you sent them Mike Tauchman or someone they could use tomorrow, and try to get like a reliever or a low-end starting pitcher or whatever, that type of style.
I will say that there's a little bit of laziness on my part here, because like probably what happens is like $12 million or $20 million comes back right? And like it's like I don't want to figure out the number. It's 4:30 in the morning. I'm trying to write this thing so we could do this thing next week. But yeah.
I shouldn't skip ahead, but I was looking at the Cardinals. I was like, how do you get Nolan Arenado? And the answer is you're not going to trade for Nolan Arenado because he has a full no trade, and then his deferments. He's the fucking new Bobby Bonilla, man. Bro is going to be getting a couple $1 million. He's like 50 years old. I was looking at this shit. I was like, what the hell is this? Like, how am I going to pay this guy for? Fuck. So
don't worry, they got a good thing going with an investor that's going to help them make a lot of money.
They can arm that out, no problem. No way to lose all that money. Not possible. So. All right, my trade that I felt a lot of people were talking about and getting responses on Twitter was the White Sox trading with the Athletics. And I was sending your beautiful AI version of Lenyn Sosa with the bigger, fatter ass and legs to the A's for JJ Bleday. And the reason why I did this one is my thought process was like, this is like your trade with the Tigers is one version of how you could trade Lenyn Sosa. You can get a prospect, but it's going to be lower on the totem pole, lower on the list. And you're going to take some prospect that's got a lot of upside, but isn't really like a highly rated one. Or what you can do is trade for kind of the outfield version of Lenyn Sosa. And since the White Sox are kind of full in the infield, but have some space, a little area for people to play a little more in the outfield, I went and got JJ Bleday. And Bleday was a top prospect. He failed miserably. Then he had one pop-up year with the A's in 2024. And then last year, again, reverted. He stunk. They even taught what's the kid's name? Soderstrom, the guy who was a catcher, to play left field because he was bad and they needed to get his bat in the lineup. And so my thought is you probably could flip him for a reclamation project like this. Sosa, when you look at his Baseball Savant page, he hit, I think he hit 22 home runs for the White Sox. But if he had been playing for the Athletics, playing in that park in Sacramento, Baseball Savant projects it to be 35 home runs, Chorizy.
So that's the problem. That's the problem Beef, with this trade is that Bleday hit 14 home runs in that park. That's the equivalent of hitting equivalent of hitting -7 in the rest of the league.
But they had a bad year. That's the only reason you're getting him, right? If you're just firing on all cylinders, you're not going to be able to get a chance to get him. Okay, I get what you're saying, Chorizy, but it's still 10% walk rate on Bleday. He can still handle the corner outfield positions well. Like, what do you think you can get? You traded for 28th prospect. Someone's like, this is what you can get for Lenyn Sosa, in my opinion. This is kind of like table stakes, don't you think?
I agree. This is what you get. I just don't want it. And I like JJ Bleday coming out. Like I was like, this guy's gonna be a good guy. I was kind of wish the Sox would have got him. And now I kind of don't wish the Sox would get him, but I get the idea. Yeah, I get the idea behind it. And this is how you got to think. And like this is my overall problem as I'm looking at like these trades, as I'm thinking through these. The guys on our roster stink, man. It's Lenyn Sosa is no one else would want him.
Right.
And I'm going to trade him 2 or 3 more times.
I mean, because he's going to be hot in the streets for anyone who's trying to think up an off-season plan. They're going to try to clear Lenyn Sosa out of there because they're going to look at the roster and say, I don't really want to play him at first. I would like to. Most people want to go get Pete Alonso or get a real first baseman. The rest of them are like, well, let's see Vargas one more year at first. They don't want Lenyn Sosa at fucking first base. And you're not
want him at second.
You want him at second either. So it's like he's kind of on the spot. Like I've seen the teach him how to play left field. Motherfucker, he couldn't even handle these easy positions. You're gonna put him in the outfield to run around. Come on now.
When you ask him to throw a further distance, where do you think that's gonna go?
That's not doing well.
All right. So for years, we have been watching White Sox Twitter melt down when a cutoff man is missed. Could you imagine? Lenyn Sosa and put him in left field, right? Like put him in left field. There's no way he's ever throwing the ball to Colson Montgomery.
Now I want this to happen. Now this has to happen, Chorizy.
I mean, the amount of times he throws it to the right fielder is going to be more than the times he hits the cutoff man. Let's just be honest.
All right, so that's those trades. Now, to close this out, I told Chorizy the best exercise we could possibly do is pick one of the other guys' trades and be like, what the fuck were you doing in this trade? Because I think this could be fun. We never really done this with these trades. We ask each other questions and shit, but we never really kind of go off. And so I think this is a segment that could maybe work for us.
I can't wait because the trade I know that you have for me is one that I despise doing.
At some point, everyone is forced to do certain teams. So, yeah, it's kind of stinks. So, the trade I picked for you, I'll put up on the screen right now, is you traded with the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. You traded them Luis Robert. And in return, you got Dylan Jordan, who's a number 16 prospect on MLB Pipeline Angels list. And Jose Fermin, who I initially thought you had made up because I couldn't find him on any prospect list. It turns out he pitched a little bit in the majors, so he's not a totally made up guy. Stuff plus data, just wasn't even that great. My question for you, Chorizy, when you're making this trade, the White Sox, Chris Getz in particular, chose not to trade Luis Robert at the trade deadline for exactly this type of bullshit that you're planning right here. Now they're going to wait all the way into the offseason, 4 fucking months later, pick up $20 million and make the same kind of trade? Like, I don't understand what is happening here. Why would they even do this? Why would they consider this when they could have done this months ago and saved themselves injury risk and all kinds of other shit? Why on earth would they do it?
Because they took that risk and it failed. And now they got to save face. And so this is tough, Beef, because like I'm trying, like, let me start from the very beginning of the thought process and we'll go walk through it.
Okay.
But I looked at the Angels and I thought for sure that they were going to be jettisoning people, right? Because they're about to shed $70 million in contracts between just 4 players.
Yeah.
Right? And I mean, Anthony Rendon is a lot of that. But when I'm looking at that, I'm like, okay, so you would want to think about the next year, like the following year, not the current year.
Yeah.
And so I started like looking at, like what players do they have that maybe are kind of in the more like $5 to $10 million range, and like what, like Taylor Ward was a guy that I was looking at because he's actually been good. Like, so like if they're just gonna try and shed all this, maybe they're willing to trade a guy like that, and maybe there's a scenario there. So then I start reading, like I said, I read the blogs of these other places, and they're like, what, like a lot of these bloggers are like, why are they keeping the GM? Like this is a problem because he's in his last year, so he's got to try and like add on to a team where all this money is going to come off, and like you're going to have a better scenario in the following year. And I just thought, like, this guy's going to try and add, and he doesn't really have much wiggle room to add with because the payroll's still insane right now.
Yeah. Yep.
And I just like, so Luis Robert was the guy that I thought of. I was like, okay, well, that
$20 million more payroll though, Chorizy.
I know.
20 more in.
I know, and that's a problem in itself. But then I was like, okay, like looking at their team and where could someone fit? And like the Joe Adele thing, he's a bad center fielder, but they want him in the lineup. He's 30 plus home runs now.
They dealt with Trout in center field when he was no good as a center fielder anymore. I mean,
and so like, so the Luis thing kind of felt like it would make sense from their standpoint. And then I was like, what can we get back for this guy? And their minor league is like feast or famine. And it's like you're not taking off the top. And then like everybody from like 4 to 50 is like the same guy. Yeah. Right? Like, so I kind of looked for guys that I thought like would be like a Bannister type of guy.
Yeah, a little reclamation for
you. And then like Jose for me just got like a lot of tools. All right. Yeah. And so these are the guys I landed on. And even as I was like putting it together, I was like, this is like a wild underpay for what they would want for this. But also I kind of like thought about it like, this is actually what you would get Like, I can't imagine a team offering a lot more than this for Luis. So, like, I think it's similar to the Lenine beef, where we kind of end up in the situation is like, well, it makes the most sense for them to just keep him, right?
Right, yes, exactly. I was going to say, if this trade was made in November, I'd be absolutely sick. If you told me the White Sox made this trade on March 25th, I'd probably deal with it a little better, because you've exhausted all possibilities, and it's either going to the season with the guy and try this shit again, which I would actually do. I think that's the better course of action, or take the best available. At that point, I could kind of understand doing it, but I was just looking at this. I was like, you did all this shit just to get to this spot and get the same shit. Like,
well, but Beef, it's not so much like they did all this and then this is where they end up. It's the fact that, like, what we talked about earlier is, like, how long do you wait to trade somebody, right? And like, how much does that diminish their value? And like, the injury diminishes the value, right? Like, But the other thing, and this is a question to you, is like, looking at today, we're seeing people opt out. We're seeing like all the opportunity for people to claim an option or not is happening. As of this show, I haven't looked in like the past hour that we've been on, but I had not seen yet that Luis' option picked up.
I did not see
it. It makes me think that they're on the phone. Do you think they're calling around, seeing what people would give them for Luis, trying to gauge if they should even pick this up?
You know what? I don't think they're gauging if they should pick it up, but I would bet they were doing that all through the end of the season, all since the season stopped, all this shit. Yeah, I'm sure they're working that side of it, because it's not a long-term play. You know, you're not going to wait. You're not going to proverbially wait and see. You got to know what that marketplace is going to look like. Well, if he's healthy through July, what's going on? You know, what would you be willing to do then? You know, let's revisit then, but I might be willing to do this. Like, those conversations got to be going right now. There's no question about it.
I mean, like, I think all of us were in the situation, and I put it in the blog too. Like, hey, they're picking this up. They said they're picking this up.
Yeah,
it's not picked up yet, and that gives me pause.
Let's get to this drink from Trey. Trey says, appreciate the laughs. Cheers. Thank you. Appreciate you, Trey. All right, last one. Chorizy, now you get a chance to go in on me on one of my trades. You can WTF me on this trade with the Tampa Rays.
So look, I've been very much on the side of, we don't need Kyle Teal to learn a new position, and we don't have to trade Edgar Carroll, right? Yep. That won't stop me from possibly trading him in the future. But here's the problem that I have with this. Just the words, glove first baseman. That's like nails on a chalkboard for me. I was reading it, I was thinking, like, there must be some kind of hitting upside you're just not mentioning, and so I'm reading on, and you never mention it.
No.
So again, you're just trying to pump up your improve the defense blog. And
you don't want James Loney at first base, is what you're saying.
I do not. I do not. I never have. I never will. So that was my big problem with this. But then I have an additional question for you, because you put the guy in here. You're like, this is a Banny guy. This is like a Banny guy.
Yeah.
Are me and you being too harsh on Banny? Because I feel like we're perusing these prospect lists and going like, here's a guy that no one would want. Looks like a Banny guy.
No, in fairness, this guy's a Joe Rock, which great name, by the way. Joe Rock. If you told me that Joe Rock was with the construction firm down the street, you'd believe that shit too. No, he's a top 10 prospect for them. It's not like he's a bad guy, and he's basically major league ready. But yeah, Chorizy, there is a level of, that's what Brian Bannister does, man. And sometimes he does it really well. Like, you've seen what Kevin Gossman turned into, right? So, like, sometimes his shit goes to the extreme and the guy becomes a star. But a lot of what he does is a little tweak, and a guy who was not rosterable becomes kind of rosterable and decent and in there. And so I don't think we're being too harsh on him. That's his MO. That's what he's always done, And I think this trade I was kind of expecting to catch some shit. And then my guy Ken WO was on the same page as you out there. He's like, you must have lost your fucking mind. You're not going to go get a glove first baseman. But my thought here was, I was trying to find the team that would absolutely provide you the most prospect value in return out of the American League teams for Edgar Carroll. I still think that's the Rays. Now, you would choose different parts or whatever. But
I think if you gave me anyone other than a glove first baseman, I would have been like, oh, this sounds good.
But I mean, Trey Morgan's a top 100 prospect, so it's not like he's not a scrub or anything. Like, it's not like we're plucking off the bottom of the list. Like, this guy's a real guy. It's just the profile is like, yeah, it is what it is, Chorizy. This is going to be a guy that, yeah, he's not going to he's going to hit like 12 home runs or whatever the fuck, and he's going to be man at first base over there. Maybe that makes you sick, but it did make me realize that like, what we have with Edgar Carroll is maybe a similar situation to Lenine, although Edgar Carroll's far more valuable in that I don't know that there's a big trade market for him. He didn't hit that well left-handed last year. So like that was the primary, you're facing a lot of right-handed pitchers or whatever. He's in a perfect spot here where the other guy, him being catcher too, is lefty. So he's hitting a lot righty. He hits terrific right-handed. He's like fucking Wade Boggs hitting right-handed. He's not a good framer. And so this is another problem. Teams generally don't want those guys that aren't good framers. I know we're getting ABS, but the ABS isn't going to totally wipe that out. It'll help a little bit for the bad framers, but I don't think teams kind of want that profile so badly unless they're really starved at catcher. And so you end up in an interesting spot. Carroll didn't get to enough power where you think he's a first baseman, right? I mean, I don't at this point.
Short too.
And he's small. He's 5'10". So there's a level of he's kind of got to be a catcher. And maxing out the catcher value would have you trading him somewhere. And maybe I was light on this. Maybe as maybe it's just too light, and that's just a bad idea for a trade. But man, looking around, I was like, I don't know, what would you give for this guy so far? Like he's not a defensive he's a good thrower, or fine or whatever, average thrower, average blocker, that sort of shit. But I don't know. I guess wait it out to me is Edgar Carroll situation here.
I hate it. No, but I mean, like, I get the idea of trading Carroll, right? But like at the same time, I look at this and go, catchers get hurt, man. It's a tough position.
Yep.
They need days off, and they don't need DH days off, right? Like they need to fucking rest.
Like a full fucking day off where they're sitting on the bench, Kyle Teal, thinking about nothing. Like
Kyle Teal is one of the best players on this team as I look forward.
Yeah.
Let that motherfucker sit on the bench some days and just chill out, man. Catching is really difficult.
I agree. And Sox fans need to get this into their thick fucking skulls. He should not be having AJ Przinsky's workload. Okay. That's a rare thing for someone to catch that much like AJ did. Okay. These guys should not be doing this. Only rare guys can fucking do that shit. So I agree with Chorizy. I agree with you 100%. There should be 30 games a year where he's not in the lineup. Just fucking sitting, chilling. We got the other guy. That's what we got the other guy for.
And Carroll can play a lot, man. Carroll should be playing against every good left-handed pitcher that we face. And then sometimes against a bum right-hander too, right? To give wherever it fits for Teal to get a day off. Like,
absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with having a really good second catcher. My God, having a little depth would be beautiful. Let's not understate that.
Time to cherish it. Chorizy, thanks so much for sharing your thoughts on White Sox trades with every team in the AL. Remember, we ain't trying to be around the show. We're just trying to understand. Anything you want to plug before you go?
Yes. And so obviously we about our blog and all of our stuff. But right now we are doing a charity drive to help people out who are in need in this time of the year. And you just go to 108.ing/food. You give a couple bucks, man. All you need is give a couple bucks. $1 equals 3 meals. So just give a few bucks. We would really appreciate you doing it. And that's it for me, Beef.
Yeah, beautiful idea by our friends at the All Sports Scene. And I actually have the link to go donate in the liner notes for the show. So thanks so much, Chorizy. Be good, and we'll see you next week, my friend.
All right.
That was Chorizy-E. I don't even need to give you guys the next week's guest is, because next week's guest is going to be Chorizy-E. We're going to do the National League this time, which we're in process right now. Those blogs have not been released. They're not out on these Twitter streets just yet. Thanks to Punky's Pizza and Pasta and all the one-away families up in the YouTube comments. Appreciate you smashing the like button, comments, and of course the drinks and tips. We'll see you guys on Thursday for a very fun one-away podcast. And I love all of you. Bye-bye.